All right. Well, thanks very much for joining everybody. Appreciate it. Again, my name is Paul Sun, and I'm the president and CEO of Eminent Gold Corp, and we're pursuing major gold discoveries in the Great Basin. Of course, I will be making some forward-looking statements throughout the presentation, so just keep an eye on this disclaimer. And as mentioned, I am a past mining banker and trained mining engineer, so I have had my fair share of gold exploration experience, and I've seen a lot. And I think what we've put together at Eminent is better than anything that I've seen in my past career. You're getting three high impact projects in Nevada. And everybody knows Nevada is literally ranked as the top jurisdiction for gold exploration and development. You're getting a technical team that has found gold twice before, so have created a lot of shareholder value and monetized those discoveries. So to jump right in, our first project, Hot Springs, it's our flagship. It's a direct analog to the 50 million ounce Getchell trend. You can see it here towards the top of the state of Nevada. And then we have two other projects, Gilbert South and Celts, which are located in the prolific Walker Lane trend. You know my background. I'll touch on Dan in the next slide. And then just rounding out the team, we have Martin Badgick, our CFO, and Michael Bebick, our head of communications. And our board, aside from Dan and myself, feature Ann Carpenter and Michael Koswan, all very much experienced mining veterans in the space. So I mentioned that we found gold twice before. Dan McCoy, he's the real heart of the story here, in that he's found 5 million ounces in West Africa in his first venture at Keegan Resources. If you were a shareholder during this time, you made an 1,800% return. Again, he did it again in Mexico, where he found gold, and that company got acquired by Agnico Eagle. Even during a gold bear market, you got a five-bagger out of that. So fingers crossed, he's going to do it again right here in his own backyard, where the technical team is in Nevada, for a third win. So just to remind you, Hot Springs is our flagship. You can see it is very open and amenable for gold exploration and development. And you can see here the real strategic valuation of value proposition of the company. On this side of the Getchell trend is where the 50 million ounces are. And I think we've methodically proved that Hot Springs is a direct analog to these mines on the other side. And a lot of people say, like, well, why hasn't anybody looked on this side before? Because literally before we showed up, there's never been any gold exploration or development. And the reason is the common thinking was people didn't think that the age of the rock on this side or the age of the rock on this side was different than on this side. And as a result, gold couldn't be hosted. And I'll take you through that is simply not the case. The first step is, if you look in this lower box here, HSRP, that's our property. Getchell, those are those mines on the other side. And of course, you want to see gold present, but you also want to see pathfinder minerals to gold, like arsenic, mercury, and antimony. And if you look at these values, in most cases, we have at least the same or better values that you're seeing on Getchell. So that was a real big box that was checked. And that's when the majors started to sit up and say, well, wait a second, these guys might be onto something. So really the next step was to look at the plumbing. And those mines on the other side, the way they work is you get these steep feeder faults that bring gold from depth, and it gets trapped by these horizontal thrust faults. On our side, the hypothesis was it's the same. The only difference is we have this post-mineral basalt cover or overburden. So a lot of people also say, well, yeah, well, why couldn't people see the gold? Well, it's because it's covered. But just because it's covered, it doesn't mean it's not there. While in these cases, those mines effectively daylighted. So really, luckily for us, in certain sections of the property, we had that post-mineral cover erode away. And you can see we had some grade, some gold grade of 2.8 grams per ton bleed out of the top of the surface. And as you would expect, move from high concentration to low concentration as it moves away from source. So really, to prove that out, we did geophysics, which is a fancy way of saying you're doing an X-ray of the ground and the structures beneath. And you can see that indeed, we have these classic deep faults that bring gold ideally from surface, and from depth, and they get trapped by these horizontal thrust faults. Here's a look at the first three holes that we've drilled into the system, and then this is the next hole that we're drilling right now in progress. So to take you through that, literally the first three holes that has ever been drilled by the company are maiden drill program, and literally the first three holes that have ever been drilled on this side of the Getchell trend yielded significant gold and arsenic. So that was really super exciting. You can see we got grades of up to 8 grams per ton, and this is what brought the majors to the forefront, including Kinross. And Kinross called us up and said, look, we want to be part of your company. So they came in for a 9.9% equity stake in the company. They brought the bench strength of their team. They really love what we're doing. A brief note on Kinross. Obviously, we have Barrick and Newmont and Anglo and all these monster mines around us. So letting Kinross in was strategic in that it creates a healthy tension, because if you let those ultimate big guys in, really big guys in, then you're kind of like stuck with them as being your ultimate buyer. Where in this case, Kinross, multi-billion-dollar company, but those other mines have a lot of infrastructure in the area, so they can quite frankly afford to pay more and come over top of Kinross should we continue to have the success that we have. But they've really been great collaborators, and one of the things that they suggested we do is a gravity survey, which I'll take you through right now. And this is basically just another way to look at underneath the ground to support our existing hypothesis. And we were very excited to see the results. And not only did it confirm our three existing targets, Otis, Sitka, and Eden, but it also identified two brand new targets on the project. It also confirmed the northeasterly direction of the mineralization, which is exactly what you're seeing on the Getchell, on the other side of the Getchell trend where Newmont and Barrick are. So we're effectively parallel to them, and the size, a 10-kilometer strike, mirrors those mines on the other side. So we really think that we have a district scale play here and are very excited. So as mentioned, we're drilling now, and we should have those results coming in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that, but very exciting. Moving on to Gilbert South, also like Hot Springs, very open and amenable to exploration. In this case, we have a lot of high grade gold on surface. You can see the stockwork veining. We're getting samples of up to an ounce per ton on surface here. It has been historically drilled, but you'll see that most of the drilling has been very shallow and vertical in nature, really just looking for that surface expression, where what we're doing is we're really looking for the heart of the system. So we like to show this. If you imagine an underground tree where the trunk is really where that pipe or where that feeder of main gold is coming from, and then it splays off into branches and then eventually goes into the leaves. That top part of the system, we believe, is eroded away based on what we see here. So we're really standing here, and if you look at the depth, we don't have very deep to drill to get to the heart of the system. We're already fully permitted here, but we will look to drill this likely in 2026, as right now the focus is on Hot Springs. But similar to what we did at Hot Springs, we have multiple shots on goal. We have three distinct target areas: Bighorn, Pretty Boy, eastbound. We've already identified our drill targets here, and similar to Hot Springs, we've also confirmed the structure underneath. So we've already, again, identified our drill targets, and we'll be looking to do this in 2026. Last but not least, our Celts project, super exciting in that this was brought to us by the same technical team that brought Anglo Ashanti their Silicon project. And Silicon has grown with Merlin into one complex, which has grown to 16 million ounces in size, 1/6. And it's the most recent major discovery coming out of Nevada. So we think that Celts is a direct lookalike to Silicon, which is why it's garnered a lot of attention. As soon as we acquired this project here, this area, Barrick came and staked right around us. So this is our property boundary here in this upper corner, and you can see Barrick has really come in around us. And really the way the model works, which is quite novel for Nevada, is you have this rhyolite dome where, just imagine an underground volcano that moves through the earth, and as it moves through the water table, it creates a boiling zone, and that boiling zone creates an ideal gold deposition environment. Gold shakes out in a bulk mineable, economically recoverable way. And when that volcano pierces the surface, it creates a cap. So gold actually can't come to surface, which is why people have walked over this area for many years thinking that there was no gold, because you didn't see gold immediately on surface here, which again is why this is a very exciting target. The work that we've done so far is we've done this induced polarization. So you can see the two lines here right across this rhyolite dome. And really, again, to remind you what it is you have this cap coming through. The mineralization happens here. This is the same westward dipping structure or fault under the steam cap that you see at Silicon. So what we've shown so far is that the structure is the same and that the age of rock is the same. So we're off to a very good start. And I'll just show you real quick a direct comparison. At Silicon, Anglo's project, you see their open pit here. You see their silica cap with a rhyolite dome on top, and you see their faulting right underneath the cap. Similar to what we have the same silica cap that's come through. Gold falls out here, trapping the gold that can't come to surface. But similar to what we had at Hot Springs, where that cover bleeds off, you're seeing some gold exposure. And in this case, we're getting over an ounce per ton of gold in high grade grab samples. So we'll actually look to drill this if we can towards the end of this year or early next, because it is just got so much attention from the seniors that like we just got to put a couple holes into this just to move it forward a little bit. So lots of excitement coming up in the next few months. The cap table, real quick, just to remind you, Kinross owns 9.9% of the company, management's at 10%, technical, personal, and close associates at 32%. So the point is just over half of the company is owned by insiders, with the balance being owned by gold-focused retail. I'll mention a few names that you probably will recognize: Rob McEwen, Ewan Downey, Ivan Bebic. These are all mining veterans who have run very successful mining companies that are putting their personal money into our story because they are aligned with us and that they think that we're at the infancy of a major discovery and have a lot of optionality on our projects. So I'll just basically say is that, we not only do we have their validation, but again, we have corporate validation. And just to round out the presentation, you can see we are quite catalyst rich or news flow rich for the back half of the year and into early next. So we will be feeding the market. We will be starting an official marketing program, which is why we're here with the folks at Kin, and we're going to other conferences and doing other campaigns. So with that, I just wanted to remind you, at Eminent, you have a lot of optionality. We have 3 high impact projects. You're getting a team that has discovered gold before twice. And really we're at that inflection point of a discovery, which if you have resource investors in the audience, they'll know that that's really where they get the biggest bang for your buck as a shareholder in exploration. That's exactly where you want to be. So with that, thanks very much for listening and your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, perfect. Well done. Just a reminder, if you have any questions, please pop them into the Q&A box and I'll get them. So if you come up with a big discovery at Hot Springs, like what happens to the rest of your portfolio?
Yeah, I mean, nothing happens with it. I mean, that's the thing that we always want to make sure we have a pipeline of projects. We're very opportunistic on what we look for. We're very disciplined. If it's not a big swing, if it's not going to potentially move the needle for a major, we won't grab it. We won't do anything with it. So obviously with Hot Springs, that's the focus right now, just literally because it's never been drilled before. So drilling there and finding success is super exciting. That doesn't take anything away from Gilbert South or Celts. Those in their own right are very exciting projects as well. So if we get into that market where, gold continues to go higher and, there's just, more capital around, we can drill all 3 of our projects in parallel as opposed to series. We can put multiple drill rigs on each project and multiple targets. So that's what we've done. I think we've got a lot of discipline because we're very dilution focused or anti-dilution focused, in that we've kept our head down to really build out a rock solid portfolio. So when the time's right, we can really create that value, which I think is what we're doing right now.
Yeah. Can you talk about that Kinross deal a little bit in more detail?
Yeah, absolutely. So so basically when we put out those holes in the spring, Kinross had been watching us, what we're doing. So we were trading below 40 cents at the time. They came in, offered to come in, lead a financing at a premium at 40 cents. So as mentioned, they came in for 9.9. So of the 4.3 million that we raised in May, Kinross was 3 million of that. They do have a pathway to 19.9 should they want to take it. And as mentioned, they've been very collaborative. We have a technical committee where two of their teams sit on it, two of our teams sit on it. But at the end of the day, we are the sole operators, so we can listen and get their advice. But if for whatever reason there's a disagreement, it's our show. But to date, they've been fantastic partners.
Yeah. How many holes are you drilling it? So you got one. You're drilling one more hole at Hot Spring, or are you waiting results?
We're drilling at least two more holes right now. So
Okay.
we're always kind of like, we're just learning. It's one of these things because it's brand new and because it's blind. Before we just drill a ton of holes on it, we're always trying to vector, like, the first hole is 1 dimension, then it's 2 dimension, then it's 3 dimension, and we're always
Yeah.
trying to figure out where we're going. So we're going to drill at least 2 holes, or the campaign right now, phase 2 is 2 holes. And then of course we'll come back and we might drill a bunch of RC to kind of cut down on costs. But it's a big system, but we are going to at least get those results from those 2 holes, look at where we're at, and while we're doing that, that's when we might move to Celts. That's part of the original plan that we worked out with Kinross. So while we're analyzing that, we might move the rig to Celts as mentioned towards the end of the year, early next.
And how thick was that basalt cover?
Yeah, it's anywhere. It really kind of depends, but it can be anywhere from 50 meters to 150 meters. So it kind of depends on where you are. The reason we started with the Otis target. So again, we have the official targets: Sitka, Otis, and Eden. Otis has the least cover, so that's the easiest one to target right now. But obviously in Nevada, we're seeing a lot of deep mineralization right now. I'll mention everybody's very excited because we're only going down 500 meters, and right now all the gold we're seeing is oxide type gold. So as we always know, like on the other side, oftentimes it starts with oxide, and then as you go down in depth, it's sulfide. So we're just kind of but Kinross is ecstatic that everything we're seeing is oxide right now. So that's
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
fantastic.
Yeah. How's like trying to drill through that basalt cover?
Yeah, it's the basalt itself is not difficult at all because it's just kind of like solid rock. But when you get below it, that's where you get a lot of faulting, a lot of alteration. All of this pressure and folding can create voids, which does potentially cause some drill issues because you're drilling through voids, and sometimes there's circulation lost, or this and that, it's crumbling. So you have to be careful. But actually going through the basalt is the easy part.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
the good rock. Yeah.
Yeah. And very quickly, just how much cash you got left, or how much cash you
Yeah,
have?
we're probably around 2 million Canadian right now. So we're fully funded for our phase 2 drilling at Hot Springs as well as at Celts.
Okay. And does Kinross have a right to maintain interest?
They do.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you very, very much. That was fantastic. Really appreciate that update, Paul. Really nice meeting you. We'll be watching that, and yeah, let's hopefully hit some high grade.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thanks again, Arlen. Really appreciate it, and
Yeah.
thanks to your audience for watching. Appreciate it.
Yeah. You're very welcome. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
All right. Take care.